Adam Busby's sweetest dad moments prove that you can never really be outdaughtered. Those who haven't tuned into TLC's OutDaughtered before might have pity for a father with 6 daughters and 0 sons because of all the drama and gully things he's forced to deal with on a regular basis. I roll gender stereotypes aside. It's probably safe to say that life with 3-year-old quintuplets and a 7-year-old can be incredibly difficult at times. I have no doubt that both Adam and Danielle go to bed utterly exhausted on most nights. However, Adam Busby's sweetest dad moments prove that you can never really be outdaughtered. In a TLC blog post about what being the father of 6 daughters has taught him, Adam offered advice to dads-to-be who might be nervous about parenting little girls. My advice to other dads would be to not go into fatherhood with any preconceived notion about what this new life will be like. Having 6 girls, I have learned that each of them is different, and each one has their own individual needs and wants in what their daddy should be to them, he wrote. Don't be scared to get in there and do the wrong thing. The second you hold that little one in your arms, your entire world will change at the first time you lock eyes. He continued. With this touching advice in mind, here are some of Adam's sweetest dad moments so far. The Quints' reaction when he blew out his birthday candles. In June 2016, when the Quints, Ava, Olivia, Hazel, Riley, and Parker were one, Adam gathered his 6 daughters around a table and Danielle sang "Happy Birthday" to him. Naturally, the birthday guy/dad blew out the candles on his cookie cake when the song was finished. Right after doing so, however, 2 of the Quints proceeded to burst into tears. And the look on Adam's face? Priceless. It's no wonder this video has attracted more than 13 million views. His tribute to the Quints on World Prematurity Day. In November 2015, Adam shared a special post via Instagram in honor of World Prematurity Day. The Quints were actually born in April of that year. I can't believe how far our 5 little miracle princesses have come in just a few months. They were all born just barely over 2 pounds at 28 weeks and 2 days, the father of 6 wrote, alongside photos of each of the girls in the NICU. I am amazed each day at God's grace on our family for bringing these babies, though nearly impossible odds. The NICU is a tough place to visit each day, hoping and praying for your little one to pull though. Our God was our strength through this whole process, and we lean on him each day still. Basically everything about this promo video. This promo video for the series pretty much sums up the roller coaster of emotions that comes with having quintuplets. I'm looking at them and they're like tiny. Adam tearfully says of his reaction to how small his premature quintuplets were at birth. A few moments later, Adam can be seen admitting a startling realization to the camera with a laugh, I have a half-dozen girls now. And then later on, Adam is holding and talking to one of the Quints while the baby is staring wide-eyed off-screen, presumably at the lights and camera crew. LOL. Basically, you could just feel how much of a rock star dad he is before OutDaughtered even started. When he learned to hula dance with his family. As In Touch Weekly reported, the Busbys got a lesson in hula dancing during their recent trip to Hawaii, and even Adam got in on the action. My hips aren't made to move like that, really, he said, while donning a skirt and attempting to repeat the moves alongside his family. But hey, at least he was there and trying. Anytime he talks about the girls and their personalities. In a TLC update about the Quints as they turned 3 years old, Adam and Danielle described their 5 youngest daughters' budding personalities. They all have their own little personalities, and they're on every end of the spectrum, Adam said. If you're wondering, 7-year-old Blake is the mommy teacher, Ava is smiley, Olivia is goofy, Hazel is sweet, Riley is a troublemaker, and Parker is shy. You just can't contain them anymore, he added of the Quints. They can get through any door and pretty much any child lock now, just about. It's just crazy. And there you have it. Honestly though, this is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Adam Busby's sweetest dad moments. Don't believe me? Head on over to his Instagram and see for yourself. But before you do, be prepared for some serious sweetness overload. Photos of Adam and Danielle Busby before OutDaughtered show how simple life once was. Fans of TLC's OutDaughtered are used to seeing Adam and Danielle Busby in the midst of a house full of young daughters. That's because they're parents to 7-year-old Blake, along with 3-year-old quintuplets Ava, Riley, Parker, Hazel, and Olivia. Yep, that's 6 daughters altogether. As you can imagine, there's never a lack of excitement, noise, or love in the Busbys' lives. This is evident by their TV series, as well as their Instagram accounts filled with lively little girls. However, photos of Adam and Danielle Busby before OutDaughtered show a much more relaxing era of their lives. But first, let's get some perspective on their journey. In order to get pregnant with their oldest daughter, Blake, Adam and Danielle were both on fertility treatments and went through a procedure called intrauterine insemination (LUI), which was ultimately successful after several rounds, according to a blog post on the couple's website. To get pregnant a second time, the Busbys again relied on fertility drugs and IUI. During the initial ultrasound for their second round, they saw nothing on the screen, even though Danielle's HCG levels were off the charts. The next ultrasound was pure shock. There were clear as day 3 sacs we could see on the screen at one time, and then one more kind of off to the side. So now we were looking at 4 babies, Danielle wrote. Adam is about to pass out, and I am laughing. She continued. The Quintuplets were born on April 8, 2015, at 28 weeks gestation, according to TLC. But before this fateful day that changed their lives forever, the Busbys were just a regular family of 3. Here's a shot of Adam, Danielle, and Blake back in December 2014, when Danielle was still pregnant with the Quints and before their OutDaughtered days. And here's a photo of the couple in July 2014, back in the days when getting a babysitter for just 1 kid was a piece of cake. I wonder if Danielle and Adam can still remember these relatively quiet days with just 1 little girl to keep track of. They look so serene and well-rested here. The shot below was taken in March 2014 at a Mardi Gras parade. Here, Blake was 3 years old, the same age as the Quints are now. And I have a feeling have 5 3-year-olds at a parade these days is slightly more stressful. Keep scrolling to see even more photos of Adam and Danielle Busby when they were still just parents of 1 little girl and well before OutDaughtered. And before Blake was in the picture? Well, just take a look at this throwback photo from the early 2000s and see for yourself. Danielle shared this gem via Instagram back in February, according to Entertainment Daily, captioning it, TBT to when this lad Adam Buzz loved him some puka shells, thank goodness those days are over. LOL. But seriously, they look like babies. Adam and Danielle first met in 2003 when they were both working at a Target store in Lake Charles, Louisiana, Country Living reported. After a few months of working almost side by side together at Target, Adam finally got the courage to say a few words to me, Danielle wrote on the family's blog. The first words out of his mouth were, "Hey, beautiful." My thoughts at first were, "Oh wow, you never talked to me, and now you're trying to hit on me real smooth." She continued. Eventually, Adam worked up the courage to ask Danielle out on a date, which he then backed out of, according to the blog post. They later made plans to go on a real date at a local restaurant, which ended up being dinner with his entire family for his sister's birthday. I was stood up on our first date, then found out our actual next date was a surprise for me to go meet his entire family at his sister's birthday party, Danielle wrote on the blog. God must have been in the works here, making our hearts collide. These days, it's safe to say things are a little busier for the Busbys. Clearly, life has changed so much for Adam and Danielle Busby in the past few years. Having quintuplets will do that. I'm sure there were days after the Quints were first birthed when they sat there wondering what they had gotten themselves into. Judging by their Instagram photos at least, their lives were a lot simpler as a family of 3. But as crazy and as busy as their lives are today, I'm also willing to bet Danielle and Adam wouldn't trade their lives with 6 daughters for anything. Was Danielle inseminated on OutDaughtered? Most parents of toddlers, or any humans really, tend to get pretty tired. Feel overworked. It's easy to start feeling sorry for yourself, until you remember Danielle Busby of TLC's OutDaughtered. And then you're like, oh, I'm fine, please. For the uninitiated, Danielle and her husband Adam are parents to 1 sweet little 6-year-old daughter, and, oh yes, 5 more daughters. The girls were the first set of all-female quintuplets born in the United States, which naturally means they get their own show, of course. While Danielle was not actually inseminated on OutDaughtered because the TLC reality series didn't begin until after the Quints arrived, that was how she conceived the 5 little girls. All of the Busby children, including 6-year-old Blake, were conceived through intrauterine insemination, or IUI, a costly procedure that involves placing sperm inside a woman's uterus to facilitate fertilization. The goal of IUI is to increase the number of sperm that reach the fallopian tubes and subsequently increase the chance of fertilization, according to American Pregnancy. Danielle has blogged about her journey with IUI, documenting her struggles with infertility, the toll it took on her relationship with her husband, and the relief she felt when she discovered she was pregnant a second time. This time with 5 babies. She wrote in her blog, "It's a buzz world," about her experience with IUI. The 5 girls, Ava Lane, Olivia Marie, Hazel Grace, Parker Kate, and Riley Page, are now 2 years old, and keeping their parents busy, not to mention big sister Blake, has taken on quite the workload all at once. Danielle, who also manages to find time to work as an independent beauty consultant, if you can believe it, reported that the girls are officially hitting the terrible 2s during the first episode of Season 3 of OutDaughtered on Tuesday. The Busbys might have felt outdaughtered before, but imagine what their lives are going to look like with 5 mobile little toddlers running around the house. Do the math, guys, it's not looking good for them. But I guarantee you, after trying so hard to get the family they wanted, they wouldn't have it any other way. Adam watches the Quints on his own on OutDaughtered. Raising quintuplets is a team effort. That's a lesson Danielle and Adam Busby have learned firsthand, and they prove it every week on OutDaughtered. So, what happens when one of them has to do it alone? This exclusive OutDaughtered clip shows just how daunting the prospect of taking care of 5 toddlers plus older daughter Blake can be. OutDaughtered airs every Tuesday on TLC. In episode 5, Danielle has to go out of town for a work conference, leaving Adam to take care of all the kids by himself for an entire weekend. It will be the first time either of them has watched the girls on their own for longer than a day. Simply maintaining the status quo would be impressive in a situation like that, but Adam has bigger plans for the weekend. The clip begins with Danielle expressing some serious doubt. While cleaning up the playroom, she asks Adam, "In all honesty, how do you really think you're going to do this weekend by yourself?" Adam protests that he's taken charge with the kids before. The only difference is that he hasn't done it for 2 days consecutively. But that's not a small change. There are much better odds for 2 against 6 than 1. Danielle mentions that the girls are tough right now, but Adam is well aware of that fact. He does live in the same house with them, after all. In a confessional, Danielle explains that it's not that doesn't have faith in Adam. She knows he can do it. But watching the Quints for an extended period of time comes with literally, like, its own encyclopedia with so many details amongst anything and everything you do, she says. Adam picks up on Danielle's nerves, though he doesn't share them. He's confident about his ability to handle this even if his wife is experiencing more mixed emotions. She doesn't think Adam really knows what the reality of the situation will be like, so while she's excited to go away, she also knows exactly how hard day-to-day life in the house can be. It's different when Adam arrives home from work. He gets to do the easy stuff, in Danielle's opinion, like play with the girls and feed them. He doesn't have to deal with the stress of the Quints being all over the house causing a ruckus every minute of the day. Adam is slightly hurt by Danielle's uncertainty. He's not running into this obliviously. He knows that taking care of the kids on his own is a challenge, but it's one he's ready to face. However, his conversation with Danielle is interrupted by some very sleepy girls who should be taking a nap. They have crawled out of their cribs and begun to bang on the walls like poltergeists. Escaping from their cribs has been an ongoing problem for the Busby girls. Adam believes it's solvable by giving them big girl beds, which 2 of them did receive in a previous episode, but Danielle is still resistant because it represents a loss of control for her. That's where Adam's big plans for the weekend kick in. He thinks he's going to be able to smoothly transition the rest of the Quints to their new beds in the time Danielle is away. Adam believes the first night will be the biggest hurdle, but after that there will be nothing to worry about. Oh, Adam, you sweet summer child. It remains to be seen how Adam's master plan will work out, but experience dictates that it might end up going awry. No matter what happens, Danielle's weekend away is bound to be an eventful one for the whole family. Parker and Riley take preschool by storm in this exclusive OutDaughtered clip. The Busby Quintuplets are growing more and more every day on TLC's OutDaughtered, but with 5 3-year-olds running around, it can be hard to keep all the kids on the same page. This exclusive clip from OutDaughtered celebrates a milestone for 2 of the girls, but also shows how worried their dad is that all of the Quints might not be moving along at the same pace. Some of the girls just need a little more time, which is totally natural, though it's understandable that a parent might stress about it anyway. The clip opens with the Quints having a lesson with 2 of their preschool teachers. The women quiz the girls on their numbers and letters while taking note of who's shouting out what, which is no simple task when 5 toddlers are trying to speak simultaneously. Some of the girls are quick to identify the number 1 and letter S, but they don't stop there. These kids are going for extra credit. Parker and Riley prove to be the most eager to get their answers out, also pointing out the colors and sounds that they know. One of the girls even makes an appropriate hissing noise to indicate that she knows what an S sounds like, and that snake starts with that letter. Randy, the preschool owner, is impressed. Randy is so impressed that she calls in parents Adam and Danielle for a conference about the girls' progress and development. Adam appears slightly nervous about the meeting and explains why in a confessional segment. You never know if chats like this are going to be good news or bad news. This proves to be entirely good news, however. Though the Quints have been excelling in the toddler room at the preschool, Randy feels that Parker and Riley are ready to move up a grade. She does not specify what grade they will be moving to, and I do not recall there being grades in preschool, so one can only assume they are going from the toddler room to some kind of toddler plus room. They're still too young for first grade, and Randy makes it seem like they'll be staying in the same building, so it's somewhat unclear what the. But while Randy could be less ambiguous on the topic of preschool grades, she is very free with praise for the Busby girls. In her opinion, Parker and Riley have become real leaders in their class. Though they can be bossy, that's actually a good thing because it's a sign that they're ready to take the next step. This makes total sense to Danielle. In a confessional, she says that Riley is always the boss at home, while Parker is usually the first to figure things out. She looks delighted to hear about how well her daughters are doing, though it doesn't seem like Adam's nerves have abated during the meeting. He wants to know how moving grades will affect the other 3 girls, Ava, Olivia, and Hazel. Randy thinks it would be a positive for them because it would give them a chance to be leaders and come into their own. Ava, Olivia, and Hazel aren't behind in school, and all the girls are very bright, but they each have specific needs that have to be met in different ways. Danielle embraces that idea with excitement. As long as the girls are ready, she wants to see them become individuals, growing and learning at their own particular paces. But Adam is still worried. After leaving the school, the parents have a tete-a-tete in which Adam shares his fears. He's not sure about separating the kids since they've always been together. He doesn't want anyone to be left behind. The clip ends before Adam and Danielle can come to a mutual understanding about what to do, but with more discussion, hopefully they'll figure it out. Their kids are doing well, and that's the most important part. The Busby Quints' fear of Santa on OutDaughtered is totally relatable. It's Christmas time in August. Though half the world is currently fanning themselves and cursing the humidity, the Busby family is celebrating Christmas on OutDaughtered. And they do it in their own very particular way. As this OutDaughtered exclusive clip shows, the Quints are terrified of Santa Claus instead of being delighted by his sudden arrival. And that's something plenty of parents will be able to relate to. Though being plopped down on Santa's lap for a picture is a Christmas tradition, there are lots of kids who react with terror instead of joy. And even though it ruins a photo op, it's actually a good thing. Margaret Richards, Ph.D., a child psychologist at the Cleveland Clinic Children's Hospital, told ABC News that it was normal for children to be uncomfortable around oddly dressed strangers, especially since parents often emphasize caution when it comes to unknown adults. Meeting Santa can be shocking or stressful for kids for that reason. And it certainly seems to be for the Busby Quints, Ava, Riley, Olivia, Parker, and Hazel. But that wasn't always the case. When the girls were babies, they were simply confused by Santa, but not bothered. And in the beginning of the clip, they're even excited to meet Santa. They finally know and understand who he is, so they can't wait to make the big introduction. However, that changes once they arrive at the photo studio. Though some of the Quints were eager to see Santa, actually getting close to him proves to be intimidating. Hazel is the first to react with trepidation, ducking behind her parents to avoid the inevitable. Even big sister Blake showing excitement doesn't help, nor does Adam and Danielle sitting down with the girls. The mood has shifted from good cheer to pure fright. They love Santa in a book, and they love Santa from afar, Danielle says in a confessional segment. But apparently if you have to go sit by Santa, he's like the scariest person in the world. Proximity is definitely a problem. The closer the girls get to the bench where Santa's sitting, the more their anxiety ramps up. The photo shoot soon devolves into chaos. I don't know what Santa did, but it's horrible, Danielle continues. Like, what's so scary? In their adorable red flannel nightgowns with bows, the Quints screech and cry. Hazel declares that she has to get away. One sister crawls directly out of Blake's arms as soon as she can. Parker climbs over Danielle's body to avoid being anywhere near Santa. Danielle and Adam aren't ultimately bothered, though. Danielle knows this will just make the photo more memorable. And it definitely would be memorable. As broadly pointed out, the internet is packed with pictures of kids shrieking their heads off while sitting with Santa. The publication also had another theory for what was so scary, courtesy of parent coach and licensed clinical social worker Mercedes Samudio. Her explanation could account for why the Quints were cool with Santa in the past, but not so accepting of him now. Samudio said, as kids got older, they could better understand abstract concepts, as well as differentiate between fact and fiction. It will all calm down for the Busby girls as years go by, but until then parents can relate to the struggle when they tune in to the episode. OutDaughtered airs every Tuesday on TLC.